Tesla shuts down Dojo supercomputer team, refocuses on AI5 and AI6 chips. Peter Bannon, who led Dojo, is leaving, while remaining members will be reassigned to other Tesla compute projects. The move follows the departure of about 20 employees who left to form a new AI startup, Density AI. Elon Musk confirmed on X, it doesn't make sense for Tesla to divide its resources and scale two quite different AI chip designs, adding that Tesla will focus on AI5, AI6, and future chip architectures instead. The decision reverses Musk's long-standing push for Dojo, which he had hailed as crucial for processing truly vast amounts of video data to enable full self-driving. Tesla will now rely more heavily on external partners like NVIDIA, AMD, and Samsung. Notably, Tesla recently signed a $16.5 billion deal with Samsung to produce AI6 inference chips for its FSD platform, Optimus Robot, and AI data centers.
Behind Siri's setback, Apple's hands-free AI future. Apple's reported Siri delay is tied to a larger AI overhaul centered on a new app intent system, which could let Siri fully control both Apple and third-party apps entirely by voice. This would allow users to perform tasks such as editing and sending photos, shopping online, posting on social media, and logging into services without touching a screen. If successful, this would fulfill the hands-free vision Apple touted when it launched Siri nearly 15 years ago and form the backbone for future hardware, including a planned smart display and even a tabletop robot. Delays in app-intense development have pushed the smart display launch back a year, with Apple now aiming for a spring release, alongside a broader Siri infrastructure upgrade. Early trials are limited to apps like Uber, Amazon, YouTube, Facebook, WhatsApp, and Apple's own software, while banking and health apps face stricter rules or exclusions. US grants NVIDIA licenses for China-bound H20 processors. The US Commerce Department has reportedly begun issuing licenses to NVIDIA to export its H20 graphics processing units to China, according to the Financial Times, who cited a US official. AMD and NVIDIA shares fell after a report that both agreed to give 15% of Chinese AI chip sales revenue to the US government for export licenses, covering NVIDIA's H20 and AMD's MI308 chips.
Hedge funds dump oil, power up renewables, and major energy shift. Hedge funds have turned bearish on oil stocks while easing short positions in solar, marking a reversal of energy strategies that have dominated since 2021. Bloomberg Green's analysis of Hazeltree data from 700 funds managing $700 billion shows that from October through Q2, managers were increasingly net short S&P Global Oil Index companies due to rising OPEC plus supply and slowing US and China demand. Meanwhile, short bets on solar have dropped to their lowest since 2021, and wind stocks remain net long. Renewables are benefiting from AI-driven electricity demand and China's green sector recovery. EV stocks are still pressured but nearing multi-year low short interest, as managers forecast rapid adoption and see renewables as the main source of new energy supply for decades. Trump streamlines $5 billion EV charger program, dropping equity and labor rules to speed build-out. The Trump administration released new guidelines for states to access $5 billion in federal EV charger funding after a court blocked its freeze of the program. The revised policy aims to streamline applications, remove requirements like prioritizing disadvantaged communities and union labor, and accelerate infrastructure build-out before funding ends in 2026. The Government Accountability Office previously ruled the administration violated the law by withholding funds, affirming the program must proceed as mandated.
China cautions against using NVIDIA's H20 chips as Trump eyes scaled down Blackwell sales. Chinese authorities have recently urged companies to avoid using NVIDIA's less advanced H20 chips, issuing strong guidance against their use in any government or national security-related projects, Bloomberg reported. NVIDIA pushed back earlier this week against Chinese state media claims that the H20 poses a national security threat. Meanwhile, President Trump signaled openness to allowing NVIDIA to sell a scaled-back version of its Blackwell processors to China, saying he would consider approving shipments if the chips were made less powerful. Trump noted that NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang is coming to see me again about that, and stressed it would involve an unenhanced version of the big one.
ACHR targets 2028 Olympic-ready eVTOL fleet with UAE ramp-up. CEO Adam Goldstein said, "We now have 6 more Midnight aircraft in various stages of production, with 3 in final assembly, bringing the fleet to 8. The UAE Launch Edition should start generating cash this year, with low tens of millions of dollars in payments over the next 18 to 24 months. Plans include more UAE flights, parallel FAA and GCAA certification, fleet growth, and piloted VTOL flights later this year. ACHR and Joby are the only two eVTOL firms in the FAA's final policy stage. Goldstein also sees defense as a potentially very large early revenue source, but we'll have to wait and see. Cannabis sector soars as Trump signals marijuana reclassification. Cannabis stocks surged after President Donald Trump announced he is considering rescheduling marijuana as a less dangerous drug within the next few weeks. Trump stated, "We're looking at reclassification, and we'll make a determination over the next few weeks, and that determination, hopefully, will be the right one." The move follows a proposal initiated under the Biden administration last year based on FDA recommendations. Trump also hinted his support for the change at a recent fundraiser attended by key industry leaders, including TrueLeaf CEO Kim Rivers.
Ethereum dominates stablecoin transfers as crypto treasuries fuel Ether rally. Ether briefly surged above $4,300 for the first time in over 3 years, climbing approximately 15% this month, following a 49% gain last month. Crypto treasury companies have collectively stockpiled over $13 billion worth of Ether, which accounts for 2.5% of the asset's total supply. VanEck's Matthew Siegel attributed Ether's recent gains to rising tokenization and stablecoin demand, noting, "The Ethereum ecosystem is responsible for 62% of all stablecoin value transfer thus far in 2025 and holds 71% of all assets locked in DeFi, making it the prime blockchain for major financial institutions' tokenization and stablecoin efforts." Bitmine Immersion Technologies announced that its ETH holdings have exceeded 1.15 million tokens, valued at over $4.96 billion, an increase of $2 billion from last week's $2.9 billion. Bitmine is the largest ETH treasury in the world and the third largest crypto treasury globally. The company launched its ETH treasury strategy on June 30th, reinforcing its significant commitment to Ether.
ByteDance, Alibaba, Tencent told to halt NVIDIA chip orders. China's Cyberspace Administration has ordered major tech firms, including ByteDance, Alibaba, and Tencent, to suspend imports of NVIDIA's H20 GPUs while it investigates potential security risks. The move, reported by sources, is also aimed at encouraging purchases from domestic chip makers like Huawei. NVIDIA denied any security concerns related to its H20 or other processors.
Nextracker lands 1.5 gigawatts Brazil solar deal with Casa dos Ventos. Nextracker will supply 1.5 gigawatts of its NX Horizon XTR and NX Horizon solar trackers for 4 utility-scale projects in Brazil developed by Casa dos Ventos. Casa dos Ventos, with a 35 gigawatts wind and solar portfolio, is making its first utility-scale solar entry through this deal.
Tesla's robotaxi rollout hits third delay, public launch now in September. Tesla's public robotaxi service in Austin is now slated for September, CEO Elon Musk announced, the third date change in just months. The service was first planned for June 12th, then delayed to June 22nd because Tesla was being super paranoid about safety. Then on June 22nd arrived, Tesla launched only to select enthusiasts, investors, and influencers instead of the public. Meanwhile, plans in San Francisco remain tangled, with the California Public Utilities Commission saying on July 31st that Tesla was not allowed to test or transport the public in self-driving vehicles. U.S. secretly embeds trackers in AI chip shipments to prevent diversion to China, Reuters. Sources in the AI server supply chain said these devices are often concealed in packaging, though it's unclear who installs them or at what point in transit. U.S. export enforcement agents may install trackers with administrative approval or a judge-issued warrant. Companies not under investigation may be informed and asked for consent, but trackers can also be placed without their knowledge. NVIDIA denied placing secret tracking devices in its products, while Dell said it was not aware of a U.S. government initiative to place trackers in its product shipments.
Stubbe revives marijuana rescheduling bill as Trump signals openness. Representative Greg Stubbe has reintroduced his Marijuana 1-3 Act for the 4th time, aiming to move cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 under the Controlled Substances Act. The 2-page bill follows recent comments from President Trump, expressing interest in cannabis rescheduling. It makes zero sense that federal law treats marijuana the same as heroin and LSD. It is even more ridiculous that cocaine is technically classified as less restrictive than marijuana, Stubbe posted on X. He called the change common sense and urged Congress and the Trump administration to act, saying it would enable real scientific research and align drug laws with reality.
Department of Energy picks OKLO for 3 projects under new reactor pilot program. OKLO announced it has been chosen for 3 projects under the U.S. Department of Energy's new reactor pilot program, part of a federal push to modernize nuclear licensing and demonstration following executive orders signed in May 2025. The program targets demonstrating criticality in at least 3 test reactors by July 4, 2026, with the goal of accelerating deployment timelines and gathering operational insights to support long-term commercial readiness. OKLO secured 2 projects, while its Atomic Alchemy subsidiary landed 1. Department of Energy rolls out $975 million funding to boost domestic mining and processing. The U.S. Department of Energy announced nearly $1 billion in funding under the Trump administration to accelerate domestic critical minerals and materials development. Programs include the Critical Minerals and Materials Accelerator, $50 million, to mature technologies for rare earth magnets, semiconductors, lithium extraction, and material separation. $250 million for piloting recovery of valuable byproducts at industrial facilities. A $135 million rare earth elements demonstration facility to refine rare earth elements domestically. A $500 million battery materials processing and recycling program to expand domestic battery production. And the Advanced Research Projects Agency Energy's $40 million Recover program to extract critical minerals from industrial wastewater.
US tariffs spark India-China talks to reopen border trade. India and China are in talks to resume border trade in locally made goods after more than 5 years, amid rising US trade pressures. Both sides proposed restarting trade through designated border points, with China's foreign ministry stating it is willing to step up communication and coordination with India. India and China are also negotiating the resumption of direct flights, with Indigo CEO Peter Elbers confirming readiness. This policy shift comes in response to recent trade actions by US President Donald Trump, who increased the total tariff on Indian imports to the United States to 50% due to India's continued purchases of Russian oil.
Intel soars on White House stake rumors, extends gains after hours. Intel surged 7.5% in regular trading and 4.5% pre-market after Bloomberg reported the Trump administration may take a financial stake in the chipmaker to support domestic foundry expansion. According to the report, people familiar with the matter said the plan aims to support Intel's Ohio factory hub, once envisioned as the largest chip foundry in the world. The plan is still fluid, with no details on investment size or legal framework. Intel said, "We look forward to continuing our work with the Trump administration to advance these shared priorities, but we are not going to comment on rumors or speculation." The idea reportedly surfaced after a White House meeting between Intel CEO Lip-Bu Tan and President Donald Trump. Similar public-private partnerships have been pursued recently, such as the Department of Defense's deal with MP Materials to strengthen the U.S. rare earth supply chain. Trump launches deregulation push for commercial spaceflights. President Donald Trump signed an executive order to cut regulations for commercial spaceflights, marking a major win for the industry. The order directs the Transportation Secretary to eliminate or expedite environmental reviews for launch and re-entry licenses, remove outdated, redundant, or overly restrictive rules, and assess whether states are hindering spaceport development. It also mandates a streamlined process for novel space activities, with the goal of enabling a competitive launch marketplace and significantly increasing commercial launches and new space activities by 2030.
XPENG and Volkswagen fast-track EE architecture at China speed. XPENG and Volkswagen have accelerated their joint development of EE architecture, achieving milestones at what's being called China speed, the companies said Friday. Based on the shared strategic objective to expand the application scope of the EE architecture within the Volkswagen Group and realize cross-platform and cross-powertrain platformization, both parties have agreed on expanding the EE architecture technical collaboration. The signing of this agreement marks that the EE architecture will be not only integrated into Volkswagen's electric vehicle platforms, but also deployed across its ICE and plug-in hybrid electric vehicle platforms in China.